Hi everybody, how are you? I just want to say hey, um, purple-haired bee lady here, yeah, to talk about the bees. I had a really good experience last night. I made some mistakes. They weren't bad mistakes, they turned out to be okay. They just were time consuming and taught me more about preparation during the bee season. We have a tremendous nectar flow happening right now. Our field is abundant with flowers. We have the old orchard is 50 years old, and so the trees are just full of flowers with very small fruit because they've never been pruned down for commercial use or for human consumption anymore. So aside from the bears now, the bees are actually out there pollinating it, which is creating more fruit. It's a great problem to have because those bees are going out and they're pollinating the heck out of stuff. We have we have 5 hives. One I lost completely, and I'll explain that. I did not do a sugar roll right away. I waited, and I did not put the mite strips in that hive like I normally would. It was a weak hive, so I was not wanting to over weaken it, and so I waited too long. And as a result, they died. So I lost one, but that's okay because I cleaned out the hive, got a whole new hive put together, and I took healthy frames from my 2 strong hives that are way too busy and have too much going on, made sure there was no queen. I took a frame that had the little tiny rice grain eggs because once they sense there's no queen, and I had some nurse bees already in the older hive. There was like 5 bees left. I'm lying. I had 100 bees left. But they were fussing around on those cells, so I went ahead and put 2 frames to start a new hive. It's going to be a slow growth, and I did it last year, and I accidentally created my own hive that way. And I should be able to generate a queen because they'll sense there's no queen and they will actually start taking royal jelly and rear one. And I am going to start rearing queens next year. I'm going to study it this year and learn the process of grafting so that we can do that. Well, my mistake yesterday was I came straight home from work because I needed to email somebody about my my hive because it looked like I had a varroa infestation and that may have killed the brood because all my eggs dried up, my larvae, everything, and then ants were in there tunneling out what was left. It was a very spotty brood frame, which means all of the cells were open except for patches of what they call cat brood, which is completely closed, and it's kind of a brownish yellowish, kind of like over there. The honey covers more of this color with some white in it. This is a great tapestry for bees as far as explaining colors and what you find. But either way, they went ahead and they dried up and they died. So I took pictures. It's being sent off to a university professor that is going to look at it for me, and it's a mentor for a man that I talked to regarding bees that helps me. And I wanted to let you know that it was a mistake I made because I didn't jump on that right away. I just made an assumption, and assumptions are things that we do that we end up really, really hurting ourselves with. And one of the assumptions, so I've got 3 lessons I've learned from the bees that I can use in life. First is thinking as assumption, not making assumptions, because when you assume in any relationship, no matter how close or how distant you are from somebody, when you assume that you know what they're anticipating what they're going to do, or you assume they're going to do something for you or with you, or that they would like something just because you like it, you put yourself in a position to have to create new boundaries and have some discourse that should be civil, but a lot of times just doesn't end up being civil. So with that being said, I have to learn not to assume. Besides, we know what assuming does, right? It makes an ass out of you and me. So we don't want to do that. I do know that's one of the best lessons I've learned is not to have assumptions about anything, any animal, any species, any plant, any human. Everything that has life in it has its own trait, its own personality, its own profile, characteristic. We can't assume anything. Things are subject to change anyway. As soon as we think we got it pegged, it changes. The second is resilience. The bouncing back, fixing what gets broken and fixing what gets broken. Bees are phenomenally resilient. They will group together in community, and that's because they use the community aspect. They're very, very democratic. And as a community, they will get together and they will find a way to sustain. So how they do that is they either repopulate the hive or they swarm, they leave, they have to go somewhere else where it's safer. And as humans, we can learn to do the same. Now, they don't run away. They don't run away from problems. This is imminent danger, things that can cause harm to their entire existence. So that's when they know to move on or move forward, right? That's a great second lesson for us too, because we get in a habit of we either run away from things too quickly when we should stay and stick together as a community and fix it, or if things are just too irreparable and too far gone, and before people get hurt and feelings get hurt and hatred tends to take over the situation, time to move on, right? Third lesson is rebuilding. Anytime their honeycomb gets damaged, they will draw a new comb and they will rebuild their frames. They will take anything you've torn down and they will rebuild on it because they use a good foundation. Bees have a solid foundation need in order to be productive. So we need a solid foundation in our lives and in our own relationships so that we can rebuild, because rebuilding is also a huge key to being successful in life and in love, in happiness, in career, in relationship of any kind. All kinds of areas of our lives require that we have a solid foundation and that we are prepared to rebuild if necessary. But those things, again, require community and no assumptions. They all work together, hand in hand. And it's funny how the bees have always been able to thrive doing this process on their own. And as humans now, we're the ones that are destroying them. So if we can use their practices and rebuild our own communities and take care of each other, along with knowing when to move away and when to set boundaries and learn how to share spaces and not, I mean, even in politics, we don't have to agree. You need to share the same space, guys, and have some civil discourse, but you need to just be prepared to not always have the same exact thought process, right? We're not a communist country. Let's not insist that everybody think like we do or they cannot be our friends. I don't feel that way. So I am me. I will always be. I'm the purple-haired lady who loves bees. That's who I am, and that's what I may be called forever, and I'm okay with that, right? I take no offense to that. Nothing about me, my hair color, what I wear, my eclectic style, or not knowing what I'm going to look like from day to day, has any impact on how I love, who I impact, and how I can create a better world for others. So let's remember to look in the mirror first and see who we are, where we are in our lives, and see how we can apply those three wonderful core, even competencies to our lives, into ourselves, into our behavior. And just ask ourselves, how can we be better to make it better for others as well as ourselves? It's always better when it's better for everybody, right? Guys, I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. I am making the rounds and getting some bee equipment. Gonna have one more hive to inspect, and then next week I am on vacation. Gonna be blogging on the blog and getting ready to do another recording for the podcast. I would love your feedback on that. I love everything you guys have to offer, and I will see you either on the website or I will see you on iTunes or any other media outlet that offers honeybeemyteacher.com and Honeybee My Teacher podcast. I love you very much. Have a wonderful day. I will see you soon. You take care. Mwah.